My name is Motunrayo Ariyo, and this is my mega story. I joined ECWA Mega Chapel Ggbagada in the year 2017, immediately after my youth service. I needed a home, I needed a place to worship, I needed brethren around me, and my sister invited me to ECWA Mega Chapel Ggbagada, and since 2017 it has been a home indeed for me. Now I'm fast forwarding to year 2019. In the year 2019, it was a challenging year for me. February to be precise, I realized I had ovarian cyst when I went for my medical checkup, and I didn't take it serious because I felt it was something that would come and go. And at the point I realized the cyst had started growing, and I knew I needed to talk to people. So I reached out to my pastor, Pastor Somiowa. So I reached out to him, and I had to explain to him that if he can pray for me with my faith and his faith, that the cyst will go. But after the prayers, I realized the cyst was not going. Instead, it started growing bigger. And at the point, I started looking like a lady that was pregnant, looking at me like I'm a single lady. At that point, I didn't even have a boyfriend, and I was having a big tummy. The extended family started calling my parents to confirm if I was truly pregnant as a single lady and I didn't get married. Looking at the fact that I was a church girl, always coming to church. And again, at work, some of my clients would tell me, "Oh, you're pregnant, when did you get married? You didn't invite us." And at the point, I felt bad, and I was like, "God, why will you do this to me?" Because I felt, no, this shouldn't be me. But I really want to thank God for ECWA Mega Chapel. My church was the only place I found solace. The encouragement, the prayers. At the point emotionally I was down. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go outside to meet with people. My neighbors in our community were like, "Oh, so she's truly pregnant and she comes to church and she prays." And I knew I was not pregnant. I knew it was an ovarian cyst. I didn't know what to do at that point. And also at that moment was a trying time. I can remember a time I went to Lagos Market, Lagos Island, and a lot of people were telling me, come and buy your baby's things. And I was like, wow, I'm not even pregnant. But I could not start explaining to them in the market that I was not pregnant. At the point, I was feeling so uncomfortable. I was going through pains at night. Most times I don't sleep. At times I don't eat. And I was looking so lean. I was looking so malnourished, and people were looking at me that, how can you be pregnant? You're not even healthy. Then my pastor was concerned and had to refer me to his doctor friend, Dr. Afolabi, at ECWA General Hospital. He gave me an appointment to come and see him at the hospital, and on getting there, he told me the only option for me was to undergo a surgery. Now, that was at that point I broke down, because a young lady like me going through it was even a major surgery, and he said that was the only option for me to remove the cyst, that there's no prayer that can take the cyst down except a major surgery, and with prayers back with it. I came back home and I met my pastor, I met my family, and my pastor said, okay, he's going to join me in faith, and by the grace of God the surgery will be successful. I went for my next appointment, and during my next appointment, the doctor told me that my blood level was very low and I needed to do a blood transfusion, and I also needed to do my surgery immediately. And at the point I was like, doctor, how will you tell me to do my surgery when I'm not even prepared for it? Because at that point I came alone, I was not with anything, I just came for a medical checkup. And the doctor told me that was the final thing, that if I'm not doing it, then my life is at stake. I called my parents and let them know that this is what was at stake for me. And the next thing I did was to call my pastor. So I reached out to my pastor and had to explain to him the situation of things. He prayed with me at that moment and also told me that the church would be reaching out to me in some minutes. And without looking, I realized that an alert on my phone of the initial deposit of the amount I needed for the surgery. And immediately after the blood transfusion, I was taken into the theater for the surgery. I really want to thank God for my church, because my church was with me at that moment. At the point I was scared, I didn't know what to do. I thought that would be the end of me. But my church was praying with me and they were praying for me. And even at that moment, I came out of the surgery after 8 hours of the surgery. I came out and it was successful. After the surgery, and they had to weigh the cyst. The cyst was a 9 kg cyst, and the head surgeon, Dr. Afolabi, was like, wow, this is the first they are doing in the history of ECWA General Hospital as that time. And that which church do I attend and which God am I serving? That I should not stop attending my church and I should not stop serving my God, because indeed it was a miracle. For the fact that I had 11 doctors around me at that moment, it was something that was shocking to even him, the head surgeon, because even at that moment, he had to come back and keep checking me if there will be any complications. But to the glory of God, there was no complications. He told me to go for 4 pints of blood. I only collected 2 pints. The remaining 2 pints was not needed at the end of the surgery. And this is a story that I had a church that stood by me all through this process. Even when I came out of the surgery room and I spoke with my pastor after the induction, what was induced in me had left, weight had reduced. My pastor was really happy, and indeed it was God that did it. I just want to thank ECWA Mega Chapel Ggbagada. I want to thank my pastors. I want to thank the prayer team. I want to thank every member for standing by me at this moment in my life. It was a moment I felt all hope was lost, but indeed God showed up for me. God used my church. God stood with me, using my pastors, using every church member with me. I remember when I left the hospital, when I came back home, the joy and the happiness in everyone's face when I came back from the surgery. I really want, and this is one thing I really appreciate God for, and I really thank the church for their love, for their support, for their encouragement, even in this my trying time. And this is my mega story, ECWA Mega Chapel Ggbagada. Indeed, we are happy people. God bless ECWA Mega Chapel Ggbagada. Happy 10th anniversary, church. I love you all.